In this video, I'm going to share 5 investments that you can make early on in your business to set you up for long-term success. Hey there, I'm Katelyn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a place where we like to empower photographers to build both profitable and purposeful businesses while also letting you in on the behind the scenes of our everyday life. This video is all about helping you make really wise investments, because if you are like most people who are starting a business, this may be a side hustle and you may have limited time, or this may be a new adventure and you don't have unlimited funds. Like, the amount of money you have to pour into your business before you're even making money could be very sparse. And so we want to make sure we make good decisions early on, because this will impact how well your business can grow. You got to get your priorities straight in order to be able to thrive your first couple years in business. And so I want to help you make great decisions so that you don't make a decision that's going to actually set you back instead of push you forward. So the number one way that I would encourage you as a new business owner to invest both your time and money is in education. And now you may be saying, like, Katelyn, you're an educator. Of course you would say that. But I became an educator because I realized that photographers that grow and catapult themselves into new levels of business very quickly are the photographers that dive deep into education. Because think about it, you can pour yourself into like all your time and money into like this crazy website or like amazing gear. But if you have no idea how to run it, how to use it, how to operate it, how to see light, how to control light, like, there's going to be a cap on how much you can grow. If you have good education as a foundation for how you're starting your business, it changes everything. So let's talk about 2 types of education. There's either free education or there is paid education. Okay, so when we're talking about paid education, there's a lot of different options. You could go to conferences in person or online. You could pay for online courses, or you could pay for mentoring and coaching more one-on-one with an educator. And there's so much I could say about this because I am an educator. I've been an educator for I'm getting close to 10 years now of being an online educator for photographers. And I think there are so many people that are hesitant, and I get it, they're hesitant to invest because what if it's not a good investment? And so I could do a whole other YouTube video talking about how to make wise online education investments. All right, so the other option for education is free education. So what does this look like? It looks like YouTube channels like this one. It looks like free webinars. We have 3 of them that are available right now. These are classes that teach really good content, but it's not everything. If you really want everything and you want the best of the best, you want to learn everything these experienced photographers have to offer you, that's what you get in a paid course. However, if you don't have the money to invest in paid education, you could spend so much time gathering great information for free in some of these formats. If you don't want to do webinars, or you're not quite ready to spend hours looking at YouTube videos, maybe start by just signing up for email lists, because a lot of educators have email lists and they send out great content monthly, weekly, every few months, and you can get a lot of information that way sent right to your inbox. One of my best pieces of advice for finding educators and information that's actually going to help you grow is if you find an educator that you love, follow them on Instagram, subscribe to their YouTube channel, sign up for their email list, find ways to be connected to this person, because chances are, if you like the way they educate, you're also going to love all the other content they produce. So find an educator that you love their work, you love how they teach, and you really appreciate what they share about their personal journey as well, because then it's kind of an all-encompassing experience that allows you to feel really connected to them. And if you're connected through all these different channels, then you're not going to miss when they come out with new pieces of information. So that was investment number 1. Investment number 2 is your website. So let's talk about your website, because there's a lot of confusion about this when you're starting a business. It's very tempting in our creative visual world to invest way too much money up front in branding as soon as you launch your business. A lot of people think, like, I got to pay a designer. I want to have my own look. One of the best decisions I ever made is that I did not work with my designer until years and years into my business, and I truly knew who I was. When you first start your business, I know you think you know who you are, but normally you don't. You're going to evolve and change and tweak things and evolve so much in your first 2 years that it's not worth your time or your money to invest in working with a designer and getting a custom brand until you fully know who you are. My designer has literally said that she did a website redo for one photographer 6 times in the first few years of their business, because this person just kept changing who they were. They did not know who they were as a business. So hold off on custom branding and instead have a professional online presence. You can do this with a simple simple website template. My designer has website templates that are amazing. They're beautiful. You can actually get a discount code below. Tonic Site Shop is owned by Jeff Shipley and Jen Olmstead. Jen has been my designer for years. And so my brand and my look and my site it was over $10,000, right? But I didn't invest that kind of money until years and years into my business. So what I recommend to you is to start with a template that you can make your own, that makes you look so legit, that makes people land and think like, man, this person is credible. This person has a great online presence. I trust this person, but you don't need to do custom branding just yet. Now, quick tip about the whole website thing, less is more. Like so many photographers, and I'm so guilty of this. You should have seen my first website. It was just obnoxious. I had like all these different ornate frames coming in from different corners of my screen. And I look back now and I'm like, what was I doing? Less is more. Keep it clean. Keep it simple. So don't try to be uber creative. Don't add in a ton of color. Like just have a clean, simple, classic, streamlined website. Nothing crazy with your logo. Like don't go and have like a whole garden of flowers and then put your name in between. Just keep it simple and neat and clean. And you will go so much farther than if you try to add in your own flair. So, right, I'm not telling you like go work with a designer, but that does not mean that you are a designer. Photographers, for the most part, are not designers. I thought I was going to be a designer and a photographer, and I've learned it's not my strength. I have some skills in it, but it's not my strength. So don't try to do it yourself. Use the template to your advantage. All right, number 3, spend the money to make your business legally legit. Like just do this on the front end because so many people don't. And then they realize, oh, I've got to pay this fee, or I've got to pay this fine, or like I'm at risk of getting in trouble legally because I haven't done things the right way. You will feel so much more confident in your business when you set up your business legitimately with the government. So if you're starting your business and you're brand new, just know this. I am not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm also not a lawyer. I literally am just a girl who made some mistakes early on, who really, I don't want you to make the same ones. Have a business license. Be registered in your county. Make sure that you are paying sales tax when you need to pay sales tax. Make sure you have an actual contract to work with clients so that you can't get sued. This is not fun, right? This is the part of business I hate. I literally hate it. But I feel confident running my business because I put in the investment a long time ago and I know that I'm covered. I know that I'm legally legit. There are so many online resources now that I never had when I was first starting, like never. There are literally lawyers who specialize in working with photographers in the wedding industry. There are lawyers who have online products that you can purchase and be legally legit for our industry. It's amazing. I never had that 13 years ago when I started. So being legally legit is literally easier now than it ever has been. I said legit like 13 times. All right, so the 4th investment is equipment. And this is multifaceted. There's no easy way just to be like, buy this, this, and this, because everybody's different. Everyone starts into their business differently. I started with a Canon Rebel XTI. That was my starter camera. I bought it off eBay. Okay, so there's so many ways you get into photography when it comes to gear. However, there are some things to pay attention to because you don't want to just have a free-for-all and do whatever with your equipment and where you're spending your money in this part of your business, because you could spend all your money in the wrong place and then not have enough money for the essentials that you need. So you don't want to spend all of your budget for equipment on a camera body that's super, super nice, but then you can't buy flashes and you don't have memory cards and you don't have hard drives to back up your images so you don't lose them. You don't have a card reader, or maybe you're buying cards that are super cheap, but they don't read fast enough to shoot as fast as you'd like to shoot. You need to have flashes. You got to have a laptop that's going to be able to process Lightroom and be able to use Lightroom to edit. You got to buy Lightroom. So there's all these other things that go into being a photographer. Just buying a nice camera is not enough. And so I'd actually recommend that you don't think about it in terms of, I got to buy the nicest, greatest, latest camera body. I don't think that's wise when you're first starting, because camera bodies are changing all the time. All the time. They're constantly being updated. They're actually not the best investment. So you could go so far with having a decent camera body, but then you want to invest in lenses because lenses have a longer lifespan than your actual camera body that you'll be using. If you are super brand new and you're like, Katelyn, where the heck do I start when it comes to lenses or equipment? I highly recommend having a starter prime lens for portraits. Almost every manufacturer has an option for you to buy a starter prime lens that allows you to practice what it's like to shoot with a shallow depth of field. Your aperture can go wide enough to where you can start to really let some good light in. If you like my style of photography or anything close to it, you're not going to be able to get that with a kit lens, right? An 18 to 55, 5.6 lens is not going to give you the same look and feel and light, bright, airy look that you might like a prime lens would. So overall, when it comes to equipment, I highly recommend making a list of all the things you're going to need to get this business up and running from a technical equipment perspective, and really have a good picture of okay, I need all these little things. Add up what that's going to cost instead of just going out and splurging on something huge and really draining your budget. That's the worst thing that you could do, is to not be able to have all the money you need to do the little stuff because you splurged on something big that you really didn't have to splurge on. Number 5, last but not least, this is more an investment of time than it is actual money, but it's so important. This honestly could be step 1. Just all of these things are important, but this one is really, really important. So you want to invest your time into people and practice, okay? So network, find friends in the industry, make friends with photographers that need assistance, not even second shooters, but just assistance. You're going to have to put in the time to get experience because there is so much power in who you know. I hate to say it, but the whole oldie saying of it's more of who you know and not what you can do. It actually is kind of true. Because basically if who you know determines what opportunities you're going to receive. When I first started my business, I was in college. And while I look back now and I'm I didn't even need my college degree for what I'm doing now, but I needed the people. The people that surrounded me during my college years were my first clients. They were the people who trusted me with their theater headshots. They're the people who said hey, I'll spend $750 and have you shoot my wedding. That's how I got started. And I was talking about what I did to everybody. And I find that a lot of people now, a lot of photographers now are so shy because the industry is so saturated. They don't want to call themselves professional. They don't want to say that they're doing this thing. And they don't ever talk about the fact that they actually want to pursue this. And then they don't get opportunities. You should be trying to get as many opportunities as you can to get people in front of your camera, whether it is a family portrait session for free, whether it is your kids playing in the backyard, whether it's second shooting a wedding, whether it's going to networking events like the Rising Tide Society. There are people, creatives in the industry that need professional photography all the time, but you've got to put yourself out there to connect with these people. Sitting at home and posting a picture on Instagram every now and then, it's not going to get you the momentum that you really want. You've got to invest time in practice and in people. That is probably the best investment that I could ever encourage you to do that is not money related. So all of this goes hand in hand, right? All 5 tips kind of culminate to this 5th tip, which is basically putting everything you just talked about into action, right? What's the purpose of having a course and having education and learning about lighting if you literally just practice on your cat? You're not going to go anywhere. You've got to practice with people, and you've got to get to know people. So remember, it's all about seasons and keeping this all in balance, right? You don't want to invest heavily in one of these options and completely neglect the other. You don't want to be 3 years into business and have $20,000 worth of gear, but you still can't figure out how to shoot in backlighting, right? You don't want to have this massive brand overview with you working with a designer, you did this new website and it's great, but you never networked with anybody. So you don't have any clients. You don't have anyone to work with. You have no way to get yourself out in front of people. You didn't market at all. You want to make sure you have a balance between all of these things. And there's going to be different seasons where you spend more on equipment, or your different seasons where you spend more networking, doing workshops, education. But as long as you're moving forward in all of these categories with all of these tips, you are setting yourself up for success as you begin your business. So if you're in a place where you are desperate to learn and grow and you don't have money to invest, I have free resources for you. You can find them in the links below. If you are ready to dive in and learn as quickly as possible, we have paid resources, we have courses, we have an online membership. All of that information is linked below. Subscribe so you do not miss other videos from us. I'm excited for you. If you're watching this and you just started your business, keep pursuing your passion. Do not give up on this. You are doing this for a reason, and you were given your passion and your draw to photography for a reason. So don't give up on that because it's purposeful. So thank you for watching. Tune in next time. I will see you next Thursday. Bye. Bye.